It's 4:30.
Hello, my name is Mark Monlux, and I'm your host for another episode of Epic Sketch Time. This is December 2nd, 2019. Now, I'm a freelance illustrator in Tacoma, Washington. I like to draw cartoon reviews of movies. You can find them via my link below or on my Instagram account. And with me are a couple other cartoonists. Gentlemen, will you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Bill Morse. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator in Seattle, Washington. I do a web comic called Rhapsodies, which you can find at rhapsodies.wpmorse.com.
And howdy, everybody. My name is Ian. I am an illustrator, graphic designer, and cartoonist working out of Arizona. Check out my stuff at unfedartist.com.
So one of the things that I did on my SquareUp account was I gave a discount for over the weekend for Black Friday deals. And I actually had one person take me up on that. So, hey, that worked.
What kind of deals did you have? Like t-shirts and stuff? Or?
Oh, well, I have all my merchandise, but what I basically did was gave $4 off on a purchase, which covers, I basically charge $4 for shipping and handling. So
okay.
It's like saying free shipping, but it took a lot less. When I looked at how to do it for the free shipping thing, there was a lot more buttons, and I figured, I can just say it's a lot easier just to give them a discount of $4 off. Another thing you could do is you could give a percentage of the whole off. I thought about doing that as well, but I thought, a nice round number like $4, it's pretty good. And then what happens? One of the guys, I totally forget that it costs more for t-shirts to be shipped, because usually shipping and handling $4 is for a book, and you can do that with on media. But the bad thing about a t-shirt is it does not qualify as media and has to be shipped first class. So I ended up, instead of paying $4 for shipping and handling, paying $12 for shipping and handling. I still came into the black, and I still don't mind doing the sale, but I kind of forgot about the whole t-shirt thing. So maybe I should have gone with a percentage off rather than the free shirt. Anyway, that's my little spiel. What have you guys been doing this weekend?
I've been pretty much keeping busy. I started my Christmas exercise of annual masochism. That is my Christmas story. And so trying to get a good head start on it while finishing the remaining strips that happened before that storyline.
Now, Bill, you say it's your annual masochism, and I'm beginning to think that might be true, because I know you really enjoy doing your Christmas story every year, even though we keep telling you, no, don't bother with a Christmas story, you've done it enough. But no, you have to do it. And I know that you plan out doing the story for it months in advance.
So, it's part of my Christmas. The main reason it's part of my Christmas therapy, because I am very stuck here, and if I don't watch myself, Christmas can hit me like a brick. So it's sort of like it's one of the rituals I observe, because I can't do the with the family thing often.
So what can you tell us about this year? What do you got going on?
Well, Chris, this year it's a wedding in Mars.
A wedding in Mars?
Yeah. If you were following it last year, they were assisting with an elopement, and so this is the next step from there.
If you don't make a reference to Santa Claus versus the Martians, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Well, I have one of those along with the Tharks and some Tharks from Burroughs and the Hrotha from Lewis. I did have one of those Martians in the back.
Okay, there we go. It's nice to know that there's at least a token effort being made.
Thank you. I mean, most of it's going to be David Bowie references, but
And I still need to plan out my holiday card that I send out to family and clients. I usually do a greeting card, and I usually procrastinate on it, which I don't want to do again, but here I am. So it's usually like a Santa theme or something. I think I showed it last year's card to you guys. What about you, Mark? What do you get?
Oh, well, last year I actually printed off Christmas cards, figuring, I'll sell them during the year. If they didn't sell, then I just use them again this year. So I'm just going to rehash, my Christmas card and just send it out again. I'll see if I can find what it looks like. But it's basically, oddly enough, aliens and Santa are both in it.
and you're getting on my case.
First of all, one time, and I'm rehashing it by just reprinting it. Let's see. I used to spend all this time doing a long, drawn-out Christmas card and mailing it out, and I would do like an 8.5 by 11, and I do these elaborate stories. I think the last time I did that, Santa Claus stopped in my yard to borrow my great deer because one of his great reindeer went lame. So, let's see. Oh, wow. I found this. It is the Graphic Artists Guild, back when we were meeting in Seattle, had a festive holiday portfolio and extravaganza. So I'll show this real quickly.
Oh, I remember that one.
Yeah, let's see. The guy drinking wine on the left-hand side was John Schmelzer. Let's see, who else did I draw in here? I think the gal in the glasses on the right-hand side is Dana Nunnally. I kind of drew a character that looked like me in the front with the green suit and yellow tie, but no glasses.
That was I figured it was, that was you, unless you were sporting a goatee back in the day.
Oh, that guy up in top with goatee. Oh, who was he? Actually, I made him look like my friend John Draper, because I was hanging out with him a lot, and he said he was going to come to the party with me, and he didn't. And of course, we have the obligatory guy eating all the shrimp in the front left. But anyway, so
A good place reference before its time.
I really liked this little card again. I'm going to have to recycle this Christmas. I mean, this would be good for any type of a Christmas card.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Okay, I'll stop my share once I figure out where my window is. There it is. I'll stop. There we go.
Oh.
So, Ian, I see you're working on one of your strips.
Yeah, this one is becoming a problem child. I thought I had a script for it. I got started and started doing the artwork, and then I was reading back through the script, and it's like, you know what, I don't think it's good. And so I've just started trying to rewrite the script after I've already penciled in the artwork, which is a bad idea. So we'll see how it turns out. What also bums me out is I I came across an idea for something that I'm going to do next. Like I'm going to try to do a full color one, and I think that one has a lot of punch on it. And I'm like, I really want to get this one done so I can start working on the next one. And it's just like, I don't know. There's a comic artist that I really like. He does. His name is Doug Savage. He does Savage Chickens. He all his
I know
art-
him. I love Savage Chickens.
Yeah, so every October for Halloween, he gives like a blank or an unlettered like one panel comic, and he sends it to his fans, and he's like, you put in the punchline and the funny parts, and or the caption. And I'm looking at this and like, can I get away with that? It's like, no, I need to work on this and actually come up with something. But
Mhm.
but yeah, I wish I had an out like that. It's just like, I'll just give it to the fans to write. But, what about you guys? Well, Bill already said what he's working on. What about you, Mark?
Let's see. I'm working on. Well, let me show you guys real quickly. I'll pull it down my window. The city has yet to send me the paperwork on this, but I'm confident that they actually will get around to it. The template you see before you is for a glass dumpster. And the city of Tacoma has hired me to do a wrap for this one. So I'm it's got these little portals, and I've drawn down. What I added is on the original template, they only showed the top portal, but that's actually a lid that falls down. So when it's open, there's going to be these metals obstructing the images. So that's why there are these second set of circles down below. That's where the lid's going to cover up the image. Also, you'll notice that there's some little sketched in squares next to the portals. That's because they're planning on putting some signage there, but they're not sure where they're going to put that signage. And then right on about where the number 60 is, you'll see there's a line going across. Well, that's where the dumpster goes in at an angle. So I have to figure out, okay, they're going to be viewing that at an angle. So I need to stretch out the image a little bit there. And that's going to be approximately 3 feet off the ground where that line happens. So I'm kind of going, that's interesting. So I really have my active image space that I have going straight flat across it is actually much smaller than what you would think. And then I have to have sort of like that secondary image space down below, which would have, interesting features. And then on top of all that, the dumpsters, the primary color is purple. So I can't make it too colorful, or if I do have colors, I have to go off of what the purple is, so that the majority, about 80% of the image needs to be purple.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the glass recycling color. So that's what I'm going to be working on today, is trying to do some initial sketches. And the first thing I've done is gone into Illustrator to do my own technical drawing, to compare it with this technical drawing, to see if by chance this technical drawing is off. I was supposed to be getting an email from the client on the technical, an update on the wrap from the people who are going to be doing the wraps for the image space for the technical drawing, but I have yet to get that email. So there we go. I'm done sharing.
Okay.
So what's the whole thing that this dumpster is for?
Well, right now the city of Tacoma has one recycling location, and it's a bit out on the edge of town, and not a lot of people are using it. They're relying a lot on the in-city people to pick up the recycling, but they're cutting back on recycling pickups, and they're not having, people aren't sorting as well as they should. And because nobody was sorting the trash, we lost our contract to China for taking our recycling equipment. So the city's having to step up its own efforts in recycling. And after doing a poll with the neighborhoods, realized that there need to be individual neighborhood drops in about the 5 districts of Tacoma. So they're going to set those up, and they're going to have these dumpsters put out, and they figured by doing a community effort and having 5 local artists, one from each one of the districts, and I happen to be in the south end, that they can make a nice PR push that way. Hey, look at these beautiful things in your neighborhood. Please come and use them.
So these dumpsters are going to be functional, but they're going to be made out of glass, is what you said?
Oh, no. This dumpster is for recycling glass.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Other, let's see. So there's 2 giant glass recycle dumpsters. Some other artists have smaller dumpsters. They get like a cardboard recycling and a metal recycling. But glass, since glass is predominantly what's recycled most, that's what's going to be going. I'm kind of glad I got a big glass one, because I can go with, I have an idea for my theme for the South End neighborhood. There are some landmarks around town, like Bob's Java Jive, and which is basically, have you ever heard the architectural term a duck?
No.
Beyond misquoting the Marx Brothers, no.
In architectural terms, a duck refers to a building that's built to look like an animal, specifically a duck. Because the first one that's known in the United States was this thing made up in either Long Island, which sold eggs, and it looked like this big giant duck. The Java Jive is a duck, but it looks like a tea kettle. And these things were very fashionable throughout the 30s and 40s. The Northwest had a number of them. There was the hat and boots. The hat was a takeout joint. It looked like a big cowboy hat. And you go there and get burgers. And the brim of the hat would be what you'd stand underneath, because it was the roof. And then the boots were actually his and her bathrooms. There was another place called, I think it was called the Wigwam or the Teepees.
Yeah, it's on Aurora. I think it's still there.
Yeah, and there's a couple of teepees.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have Ian? Do you have any ducks in your neighborhood?
Wow, no. I mean, we have like, Arizona landmarks and stuff, but no buildings that were designed to look like other buildings or look like other things entirely. I'm trying to think of when I've even seen something like that.
Let me pull up the Java Jive. I found one. Let me show this. I'll just So this is Bob's Java Jive. This was before it got its paint job last year. As you can see, it kind of suffered. They went through a remodel on the inside. Over the years, it became very eclectic decoration with, you know, a bunch of, it was a safari themed decoration. And let's see, I'll put up this new picture. So it looks a little cleaner in this one. There we go. So that's Bob's Java Jive. And what's interesting is I was watching a really old anime from the 80s, and the artist had Bob's Java Jive, or a building that looked really much, very much like it, in the background as a fun cafe.
Was that by any chance? I'm forgetting the name of it now, but the one about the Beck, by any chance?
The Beck?
The anime Beck, the one with the band traipsing on tour in the country with a really weird looking dog.
No, it was called, what was it called? Dr. Six? Or Dr. Dr. Bang, something like that. It was basically about this professor who makes, builds a little girl robot who looks like
Slump.
What was it?
Dr. Slump.
Dr. Slump, yes.
By the same guy who did Dragon Ball. I'm not sure if that's completely, because the town that it takes place, it seemed to be almost Richard Scarry-like with all the stuff that's...
Yeah, he did Dr. Slump before he did Dragon Ball, and it was a hilarious, over-the-top anime that, you know, even if you're a foreigner, you'll have a hard time understanding a lot of the humor that's happening in it. But you can watch some Dr. Slump episodes on YouTube.
Cool.
Now, how did we get talking about Bob's Java Jive? Oh, I was doing, there's also another place called the Flying Boots. It's not a duck, but it's got a great logo of these boots with wings on them. So,
on another note, I got to show off my new toy before we get in a little bit.
What's your new toy?
I finally upgraded on the professional, the pro version of Clip Studio Paint, and among other things, I've been really excited about, because I frequently was doing a lot of attending a lot of the webinars that Clip Studio puts out, and very frequently the unsung instructions and a lot of the stuff they're showing off is have the X version of Clip Studio Paint. And so now there's a lot of other things you can do with it, but at the moment what I'm really excited about is you're able to put in 3D models. This is one that I've been wasting way too much time on, but essentially you can create object files in Blender or other 3D software and then import them into your comic strip format in Clip Studio Paint. And the really fun thing is once you've done that, you can, just a second, once you do that, you can do this. And instant line art in the background.
Oh, interesting. Can you also ask it not to do the fills and stuff?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, all different layers. And I still need to fine tune the technique, but considering my previous technique was to run JPEGs through assorted filters in Photoshop and then having to do it over if I got the angle wrong, this is a huge improvement.
Yeah. Didn't you at one time also do some 3D modeling of some of the rooms? I thought you had.
I did, and turned them into JPEGs, but the problem, and I still have a lot of them, and I still use that, but it's now really cool that I can move those models directly into the comic page rather than having to process the 2D exports that I made from those models in Photoshop.
And can you apply skins to these surfaces yet? Like if you wanted to put bricks along, say, that wall there, or?
Yeah, I'm assuming I can do that in Blender at the moment. As a matter of fact, this is an earlier version of that model. Here's the current model with the bricks, which I was going to, I think I've been obsessing with it a little too much today, but anyway, it's on its way to Blender to...
Oh, what I meant is, see how you've created all those bricks standing out as little individual objects?
Yeah.
What some of the 3D programs that I worked with, they would do skins where the skin was actually this painting of bricks, and you would just apply the skin to a surface and the bricks would go whoop, right over that particular surface.
That's one of the, currently that's part of my learning curve in Blender.
Oh, okay.
But
Is that in the background? I'm seeing a really tall spider.
Where it's, oh yeah, that's one of the, that's for the where is it? That is for one of the spiders from Mars for the storyline.
If you can make the head look more like a mouse's head, there's a horror, a science fiction movie called Angry Red Planet. And it basically has a giant spider like that, but it's got like a mouse's or a mouse or a bat's head instead of a spider's head. And I'm sure you're going to get a lot of people looking at that thinking, oh, you got the head wrong. It should be a mouse's head. So
yeah, at the moment, it looks kind of like a very cute, a cute version of a daddy long legs to me, but anyway, that is my 10 cents for the day.
That's really cool. You guys might remember we were talking about books last week, and
yes, I was noticing that one of the classics.
The DC Guide to Digital Comics. It talks about using like 3D modeling for your backgrounds and stuff to optimize your workflow. And I always wanted to do that, but I never got into a digital, or excuse me, into a 3D software suite that I was willing to spend the money on. I didn't even realize Blender was free.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I was trying SketchUp, and it just wasn't the same. But
because I use SketchUp, and one of the reasons I'm teaching myself Blender is that while SketchUp for a free application which is fairly idiot-proof, is useful, at the same time it's for architects. So as far as having something, so no matter how hard you try, the depth of field and perspective is always slightly off. And that's one of the main, that and beyond Google playing games with the service is one of the main reasons I've been beginning to slowly but surely take the dive into Blender.
So how much time have you put into Blender as far as learning it and getting to the point where you made that thing that you showed us?
At the moment, that was mostly done in SketchUp and then transferred over to Blender.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, I can't recycle. And unfortunately, there's so far only two. And to be quite honest, the transition took just enough time that I think with a little bit of more training, ultimately it would be easier for me just to make one of those things in Blender.
It's 5 o'clock.
But and the big problem is essentially what you do is you can save a SketchUp document as a DAE file, which a Blender can read. The problem is unless you have the pro version of SketchUp, is something that which unless you're an architect is not worth it.
Is that Mark or?
Yeah, that's me. Hey, I'm trying to find my mute button so I can mute myself here.
The DAE file only, unless you have the advanced pro version, it'll only show up in Blender if you didn't have put any textures on it.
Huh.
So based on that, I got lucky with one of the ones that I'd been playing with for my space opera. All of the regular sets I use for my comic strip, regrettably, I'm going to have to build from scratch, though admittedly, since all of them are relatively simple models, that's actually a fairly good training exercise.
Yeah, no, I kind of look forward to seeing how that affects the look of your art. I mean, one of the things that I notice is, you know, my art, unless I use a lot of rulers, you know, it's not rigidly, you know, a three-dimensional. And I think to some extent that kind of plays into the look of the artwork. But as I try to like work on more realistic stuff, you know, you do want those rigid straight lines and very very well defined curves and everything, and not something that looks like it was hand drawn in.
Oh, definitely. I mean, one of the things that made me convert to Clip Studio from Photoshop were the straight line tools, which make it very useful for doing architectural drawings.
Yeah.
And I mean, and to a certain extent, for simpler models, it was not that big a time difference to do a lot of them from scratch. One of the reasons I'm sort of finding myself look at all the angles with Blender is that for all what I just said with doing relatively fast traces with the straight line tool, I draw the line and having to do bricks all the time.
So here is what's affectionately referred to as the rat bat spider monster from Angry Red Planet.
Nice.
One of the more creepier special effects that actually gave me a little bit of a kid nightmares after watching that horror movie. Now, where's that screen? Ah, there it is. What do you guys have planned this week?
Pretty much a working day. I may go to the gaming gamers social hour in Renton tomorrow. Haven't quite decided yet, which is I've been finding that group very useful for the most part.
Is that the same group that you were doing, what was it, a competition to see who could put together some games over the weekend?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it's called a game jam, right? Or do they call it something different?
It's called this group calls it a game jam. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I love the video game community, especially the indie guys. It's a shame that, I mean, there's some really talented indie artists, and they spend, you know, the better part of years working on stuff that may or may not end up being a commercial success. But yeah, there's some really, really cool, even successful indie games that just, because the business isn't really managed that well with all the publishing and stuff, a lot of these guys, they still aren't really making it big. But
even those back in the early 2000 and late 90s, I was talking to a game developer. There used to be a website totally dedicated for these guys to talk to each other. And he was saying that even in some of the professional shops like Nintendo and Valve and all this, 90% of the games that were developed were never put on market.
oh wow, that's crazy.
It's a huge amount of effort being put into making these and producing these, and then deciding whether or not to pull the trigger on them, because once you put them in the market, you really have to promote them hard, or they don't take off at all.
Yeah.
But
So
hey,
I mean, if
that
you think
was
about
over-
artists,
yeah, but that was over 20 years ago. Who knows how the market has changed? That was back when there was this tipping point in our culture where the gaming community, doing video games and doing art for video games, that whole sector suddenly started making more money than the movie industry. Suddenly the entertainment went from movies up here and games down here to it just tipped over.
Yeah, and I was about to say, I mean, these guys are all like really talented. Like, I mean, not just good artists, but they have to be programmers and everything else. I'll plug one guy who I've been following for a while. Let me see, how do I share this screen?
While you're doing that, Ian, do you by chance use Procreate on an iPad?
I would love to, but I don't have an iPad, so the answer is no.
Well, if there's anyone out there watching this, a friend of mine has put together a Procreate Facebook page, and we're currently doing by invitation invites in, mainly because most of the people in the group are old noobs and we're all learning at the same speed with each other. But I'd like to spread out that group. Bill, I think you were invited into that group, weren't you?
Not officially, but you did tell me about it for the other last week.
Well, what I'll do is I'll pass your name past somebody and make you as a recommendation, see if I can get you in there. Because you've only been working on Procreate for how long?
Hard at the moment. I haven't gotten the pad yet either.
Oh, that's why you haven't been invited. You need to have at least the iPad before you can come in.
I mean, it's sort of like I think I might.
You can't just talk the talk, Bill.
I will point out that I wasn't talking the talk.
Oh, we got one minute left. You've been watching another episode of Mark Teases Bill. No, Epic Sketch Time. And we'll see you all next week at 4:30. I'll see you guys then.
All right. Bye.